Hello and welcome to Find Out Nation. I'm one of your hosts, Jamie.
I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
And we're here to explore what happens in a nation when they fuck around and then they start finding out. Nicole, first of all, it is finally warm enough for us to wear our t-shirts, although I'm still sitting here in a cardigan. So we do have our Pride t-shirts on. I love it. Yours being Sesame Street. You know, they shut down the Muppets section of Disney World last night.
They did?
Yes. Speaking of doing Muppets dirty.
Why?
They're going to replace it with something else. They're replacing Rock and Roller Coaster with, that's going to be now the new Muppet themed ride.
The Aerosmith ride?
Yes.
Oh.
They're now like replacing that, I think, with the Muppet themed ride. And now they're going to do something else in the Muppet area. I don't know. This is not part of our show, guys. I just wanted to tell her this because, you know, I was like, but it was so sweet because at the, like last night as they were shutting down, the crowd had gathered outside when they were like closing for the last time and they all started singing Rainbow Connection.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
I cried.
Cool.
Anyway,
yeah.
I cried on the toilet reading my Facebook reel. Yes, indeed. Like we know where we all do our social media posting.
Yes,
exactly.
Literally, you and Trump.
Me and Trump. Yep, it's toilet time with me and Trump. Yeah, if you ever get a video sent to you, there's a like 50-50 chance I'm in the bathroom because I do plenty of, anyway, okay, we've gotten into a weird place. Anyway, so give us our countdowns. Yes.
Okay, 511 till midterms.
Okay, so that's a good number, but I feel like that's pretty close to the number from last week I'm like, I feel like the last week didn't move the needle much.
Yeah, maybe. Not much. Yeah.
So next week we'll still be in the 500s, but after that we'll be in the 400s. And that's only 100 away from the 300s, which is a year. So like,
that's right.
It's a lot of logic to get there, but we're almost
getting there.
Yes, we're almost there. Okay. All right. I love it.
140 days in.
140 days. Okay. But at least with the 140 days in, I feel like we're well into a third.
Oh, yeah. Good way to look at it.
So we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It is Pride Month.
It's Pride Month.
Let's talk about one of the greatest breakups in history.
The lovers' quarrel heard round the world.
So last week when we posted, we delayed recording long enough that we were able to report on some of the tweets, some of the twats that we had seen during the day between Elon Musk and his former BFF DJT. Is it Donald Trump or DJ Tanner? It could be either. I'm just saying. Anyway, DJT. It got worse.
It really did.
It really got worse.
So much worse. Yeah.
Elon. Yeah. So I think last we left you all, Elon had mentioned the Epstein files, if I remember correct, and said, yep, Donald Trump's in the Epstein files, which I got to be honest, like some people are indignant about how like the main media isn't reporting that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. But I've seen the video like 50 times of Donald Trump. I've even shared it on our web page. So if you want to go out and look at it, it's on our webpage. But I've seen the video so many times about Donald Trump like inappropriately dancing like a dipshit at Jeffrey Epstein's parties and shit. Yeah. Like, I don't think there's
news. Like that's the thing to me. I'm like, we've been talking about it for years. It's not breaking news anymore that he's in the Epstein files.
I know. I guess that's my whole point is like, really? Like this is.
Musk saying that like that's why they won't be released. I don't believe that. I think they're not being released because of how many people. It's kind of like the Diddy thing. How many people is this going to take down if it's released? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
100%. So Whoopi Goldberg today. Okay, wait, but let's continue on. Sorry about that. I can get so easily distracted. It really is just remarkably easy for me. Okay. So in addition to that, it dissolved into Elon saying that Trump wouldn't have gotten elected had it not been for him. Mm-hmm. That Trump, that most of the Republicans elected wouldn't have been elected if it wasn't for him. that he was going to stop work on a new spaceship because of this.
I mean, okay,
Donald
aren't your
Trump.
rockets still blowing up
It's a
when he's
totally
trying to go
valid
to Mars?
question.
I mean,
Right.
that's not much
Totally
of a
valid
threat.
question. So, like, it got real nasty real
Yeah.
quick. Even
Yeah.
Kanye, who I refuse to call whatever his new name is.
Ye?
Okay.
I know. I
Also,
can't stand him.
so here's my
Or
thing.
yay? I don't know how you pronounce it.
It's Yee,
Is it?
I
Okay.
think. I don't know. I could be wrong, but at the end of the day, will I call anybody whatever name that they prefer? Of course, I will. Except for Kanye, because
Except for
he's an
Kanye
asshole.
West.
Like, if you're
Exactly.
an
Yeah.
if you are like an anti-Semite,
Yep.
bigoted piece of
Yep.
shit, nope, I'm not going to do it. I feel like that's a valid rule.
I
I
agree.
feel like the
I can get
woke
behind that.
people aren't going to come after me
Oh,
if
no.
I make the rule respect everybody's name except Kanye's.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
and he's still Kanye.
Yeah.
That's just like his stage name or what? I don't know. Like, yeah, just so dumb.
I don't either. And so I'm at the point where I'm like, whatever the fuck. But
Yeah.
even he twatted out, guys, we love you both. Hug emoji.
Hug emoji.
Oh, yeah. It was like two dudes hugging. Yes.
Oh my God, that's the best.
For realsies. Like, some people took this really seriously. Now, Whoopi Goldberg today says she thinks it's all staged. What do you think of that?
So that's where I had a moment where I was like, this can't really be real. Like, you might be having a little tiff. You might be having a little, friendship, 12-year-old girl fight. Like, I get it. But at the end of the day, you both need each other for so many different reasons that this is not. And what are you trying to distract everybody from?
Yeah.
With your lovers quarrel, which now is old fucking news and nobody's even talking about it at this point. But like, because everything is all about the distraction. No, nobody was talking about the big beautiful bill while these two idiots are having a lover spat back and forth online. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But what do you think? Do you think it's for show?
So I would if there was something else bigger going on right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I could see is if Elon was doing it so that he could distance himself from Trump, I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
Because like clearly his business has taken a hit, all of his ventures have taken a hit, like he personally has taken a hit.
Mm-hmm.
So
and when Steve Bannon was like, we need to deport you to South Africa.
Yeah, that and the fact that like he basically, he's like, oh, Trump should step down or be impeached and JD Vance should take over because Trump's just a lame duck president, basically. Like, but I feel like I don't know what's going on with us tonight. But I feel like I don't know what it would be distracting us from. He seems proud of his big, beautiful bill, and Elon was specifically targeting the big, beautiful bill.
That's true. Yeah.
The one and only thing that came out this week, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, is the House is setting to codify and vote on the DOGE rescissions, which have a pretty big impact on U.S. taxpayers. And there's been talks about introducing Medicare into the cuts that they want to make with the big, beautiful bill, all of which I could see wanting to distract from those.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, I don't see that like the Elon Donald breakup is big enough to actually distract any of us from anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that said, I have to say I think it was the next day someone came back and was like, oh, guys, cool off. You're both pretty. I don't know. But it was something like, you're both smart and we love you both. So just take a moment to cool off. Musk came back the next day and was like, you're right. We won't stop working on Snapdragon, whatever, which I was like, okay, none of us have ever heard. Like, have you heard? I haven't heard. No. I hadn't heard of that. But anyway, so watching the two of them fight is interesting. A little concerning that the guy in charge of missiles is going after the guy with all the money in the world.
Yeah.
That's concerning. And that's exactly why, like, these two sides should just intrinsically always be at odds. I was listening to, I think it was a Tangle podcast, but it might have been with Midas Touch. No, I'm pretty sure it was Tangle. And they said exactly that this is why it's so important to keep money out of politics, is because when things come up, like, you always want some tension there between the ultra rich and the people that are there to serve the people, because exactly like this can happen.
Yeah.
And what was your take on it?
On the fight?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was fucking ridiculous, but I was also loving every second of it. Huh.
Yeah. My favorite call outs from the kerfuffle was like all of the memes now that are like, tell me again that women are too emotional to run this country. Tell me again that women are too emotional to do things like this. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Exactly. So I did really appreciate that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I definitely like recognized was the fact that like Elon was very vocal and made a lot of noise. Oh, I remember what I was going to say, but let me finish this up first. Elon was very vocal and had a lot to say. I was surprised that Donald Trump was as measured in his responses as he was. Like, when asked about it, the reporters were like, hey, DJT, how you feeling about all this? And he was like, well, I wish he would focus more of his anger on me and not attack the bill. Which was funny because that was the whole point of like this happening, was Elon was against the bill.
Right.
But I really appreciated the fact that like I shouldn't say I appreciated, I was surprised that Donald Trump was like as measured in his responses and wasn't like, this motherfucker's been on ketamine for the last 6 months or whatever.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. Because like if
I've called DFS and we're sending them in to check on X. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly correct. Okay, so here's the other thing that like really just, I was like, oh, fucking Christ. Did you notice, or did you see that one of the twats that Elon came out with was, we really need a government that represents like 80% of the country?
No.
And I'm like, you dumb fucker. Like, honestly, when you look, because I can't remember if it was like, was it healthcare or spending or something, but he specifically called out, we need a government for, it was literally like 80% of the people. What was that twat? What was that twat?
Huh.
Oh, here it is. Elon Musk floats idea of another political party after split with Trump. The people. Okay. He says it's time. Okay. Musk first floats the idea on Thursday. He posts a poll to X asking his 220 million followers if they think it's time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle. A day later, Musk noted that 80% of respondents to the poll backed the idea. This is fate, he wrote Friday evening. Musk then endorsed a fan suggestion that he name it the America Party. The name bears a resemblance to America PAC, the political action committee founded by Musk last year. He said that he would spend his $239 million possibly backing that party instead. And he mentioned that like, he has no specific platform, but he knows that fiscal conservatism is one of the things that he will make sure is part of that political party. You know, and the thing is, when I think about what the American people actually want in a political party, it is like more taxes on the rich,
right?
Universal health care. We have mixed feelings on Medicare and Medicaid. So that's one of those, you know, that's one of those, like, everybody wants it if they need it, for sure. Right. And everybody gets to the point where they get old enough that they need it. So at the end of the day, if you were to ask anybody, do you want to get rid of Social Security or Medicare? Nobody would say yes. Like when I look at most programs that I support, if I went out and asked 100 people, I would bet 80% of people would support those same issues. Like, there is a platform out there that actually represents 80% of people. And what kills me is that it really does feel like it's Bernie Sanders and AOC that represent that. Now, are there things about those parties that possibly aren't supported by 80% of people? Abortion, maybe, although there's a strong majority that still believes in abortion. Yeah. Capital punishment, maybe. Again, social programs are questionable. but
Yeah.
again, all of those, if we don't want to handle those as a federal society, do we push those into the states? Maybe we do, maybe we don't.
Yeah.
But there's at least a political platform out there that definitely represents 80% of people. And I'm here to
Yeah.
tell most that it's not in the middle. Like, I just
Right.
don't believe it's in the middle.
Yeah.
I believe that, like, there is something to the left of Trump that is still Republicans. And that right now, unfortunately, I think is the middle of
Is the
American
middle.
society.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went off on a tangent there, but when Musk said that he needs a political party that represents 80% of like voters, I'm dying to know what that political platform looks like, because
Yeah.
something tells me that it's like Bernie. And I feel like Elon did say something about Bernie Sanders in one of his tweets as well. I just can't remember what he said. It's crazy. Okay, so the breakup heard around the world,
Huh.
not devastating or surprising, I don't think. I think we were all
Right.
waiting for this to happen.
Yes.
Let's move on
Mhm.
to the main story. I
Mhm.
know we have a couple of others. We'll get to those in a minute, but I feel like we need to go ahead and spend some time talking about the main story that happened this weekend.
Mhm.
So here's the story as I have heard it. You feel free to jump in, correct anything that you have heard wrong.
Okay.
But this is around the ICE protests in LA
Mhm.
that started on, I believe, Friday.
Mhm.
So Friday, I hear that there are ICE raids in Los Angeles,
Mhm.
which, by the way, and they're at like grocers, fast food restaurants, those types of
Mhm.
things, manufacturing plants. And I read a tweet the other day that was like, if you're supposed to be finding all the gang members and drug dealers, why are you trying to only find people in the places that they're actually working full time?
Right.
Like, if you're finding people at restaurants, it's because they work there, not because they're drug dealers, you fucking morons. And I
Right.
really like that resonated. Like, hello,
Yeah.
it's the same dichotomy as Trump is the greatest negotiator in the world, and yet he's too stupid to understand, like, oh, whatever they do with Brigo, Garcia, that's it.
Yeah.
That I can't do anything about it, even though I'm the best negotiator. Oh, fucking Christ. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, I get on a tangent. So LA, there were a lot of deportations happening on Friday and arrests. There started peaceful protests on Friday.
Mhm.
They started amassing a large group that was actually protesting. And every story that I've heard is that the protests were peaceful. I have
Mhm.
heard nothing like they were not peaceful, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But then on Saturday, Trump decides that the LA protests are riots,
Mhm.
and he deploys, what did we say, 200,
2000. Yeah.
2,000
2000 National Guardsmen.
National Guards to LA,
Mhm.
which, from what I understand, requires the state to request per the Constitution, right?
Yeah, this is like the first time I think in history, and maybe if it's not the first time, it's the first time in a very, very long time that the National Guard has been called up when the governor of the state has not requested it of the president.
Right. And both the governor and the mayor have said, we don't
We
want your
don't want
National
this.
Guard, right?
Hmm. Because they knew
So,
it was just going to inflame the situation.
exactly correct. And here's the worst part, they have started shooting tear gas.
Rubber bullets.
Right, rubber bullets where one struck a reporter today
Order.
while they were on air.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
mean, it has escalated this
Hmm.
situation enormously.
Hmm.
They've now decided to call in the Marines.
Yep, they put
So
the
we have
Marines.
what,
Yeah, they
70
put
Marines?
700. They put the Marines on standby Friday night.
Okay.
When they deployed the National Guard, they put the stupid ass, drunk ass Pete Hegseth came out and said that he was putting Camp Pendleton on high alert that they may get deployed to Los Angeles.
Which is crazy. And then did I also hear that they are bringing in California Guard members?
That I don't know. I think I heard that they are deploying another 2,000 National Guard members, which would put them on active duty
Okay.
because of the sheer number of it.
Right, because I heard about the additional, like, I think I heard about the additional Georgia Guard that was, but I don't think it was large. So yeah, U.S. President Donald Trump deploys 2,000 National Guard troops to the city. And it was interesting because there was so much misinformation that was going around about what was happening. Because you had Donald Trump was saying he was deploying the National Guard. You had Gavin Newsom like, well, we didn't ask for this. The National Guard hasn't been there. That's crazy. That could never happen. And then you have dipshits like all these Republican lawmakers that are posting pictures of the George Floyd riots and the race riots and posting them like they are happening right now.
Oh my God.
In order to incite more chaos and more, right. And it was absolutely insanity because now people are thinking this is what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it was either yesterday or Saturday that I can't remember if he tweeted it out as well as said it to reporter. I know for sure he said it to reporters on like his way to Air Force One that we will not tolerate our cops being spit on, things being thrown at our cops, blah, blah, blah. You will be prosecuted as an insurrectionist if you attack our police. Bitch, you just pardoned 1,500 insurrectionists who actually killed police officers on January 6th. Spare me your pearl clutching for your back the blue bullshit.
How does someone reconcile this? You know what I'm saying?
How do you not recognize the fucking hypocrisy?
They do. They obviously
They just don't care.
I guess.
Oh, because it's over immigration?
So, and how do people that are, to your point, these back the blue fuckers, how do they deal with it? Like, how do you reconcile the fact that like, we're going to treat January 6th rioters this way, but we're going to treat ICE rioters this way? Like, how are you reconciling this? Can you really say to yourself, well, because because I support this and I don't support this, it's okay? Like, really? Right. Well, that's really what we're doing now.
Yeah. And I think what kills me is that this is what he wants.
Oh, yes.
Itching to declare martial law.
Yes.
And so anything that he can do to fan the fucking flames, to get people to react in the way that he needs them to, so he can clamp down big time before his fucking parade on Saturday, is exactly what he wants to do.
Oh, 100%. Plus, it's clear to me. So Gavin Newsom and I think Kathy Bass is her name, right?
Karen Bass,
Yeah. They, one or both of them sued the Trump administration for that happened today.
Yep.
But you're 1000% right. Like, I don't always agree with Gavin Newsom, but he's 100% right, as you are, that Trump is trying to manufacture a crisis so that he can justify being more aggressive.
Yep.
And the fact is like, I think Gavin Newsom came out and said point blank, this is
authoritarianism.
Like this very point blank. There's nothing. Like there's no way to say that this is not. It's 100% authoritarianism.
Well, and it just makes me wonder, like, at what point do the Second Amendment folks stand up? That the whole reason you have a right to bear arms is again to defend yourself against a tyrannical government. That's what you love to say when a Democrat's in the White House and you think they're going to take your guns.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. 1000%. So, the Marines are mobilized now. Definitely, like, we've seen that the riots have escalated. The person that have we heard like how bad was the rubber bullet incident that happened today? Because I only saw the headline and haven't had a chance to read more about it.
I saw a picture online that early this morning, like early enough that it was still fairly dark when they took this picture. There was like somebody cleaning up the street, a city worker cleaning up the streets, and there was like, I don't know if they said 60 rubber bullets that they were trying to pick up off the ground or what. Yeah, what all they said. Like and they're doing the whole, we're using non-lethal means, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, because what are you going to do? You're going to fire on peaceful protesters?
Oh, 100%. What the fuck are you going to do? Like, what's your plan? Are you actually like go? But they said, so I heard, and I wish I had more information on this, but seriously, you guys, this just happened this weekend. And so it's been hard to keep up. But if I remember, I've heard that at least 6 people were trampled by police on horses.
That would not surprise me.
Yeah. And so, let's see. So President Donald Trump authorized deployment of an additional 2,000 National Guard members to respond to immigration protests. The latest order brings the total number of guards put on federal orders to more than 4,100. The news came hours after the Pentagon deployed about 700 Marines to the
Mm-hmm.
to the protest in the city. Let's see. California sues Trump. Trump
And
threatens to arrest Gavin Newsom.
oh yes, that was earlier today when he was speaking to the press
Yeah,
outside.
of course, because why won't
That
we?
he wants Tom Homan to arrest him.
That's right. And um is it Pam Bondi is on Hannity right now defending all of it?
Oh God, I'm sure she is.
So we might even
I'm
have more
sure she
next week.
is.
We'll see what
I
happens.
mean, it's just I know that on Friday, because I had some notes on Friday, and this was before really anything had blown up.
Yeah.
Um, that they had been instructed, ICE had been instructed to start hanging out at retail locations such as 7-Elevens and Home Depots, to increase arrests and detentions. I also had read that residents in Arizona were reporting that ICE agents were dressing up as utility workers and going door
Yeah.
to door.
Oh God.
In the neighborhoods. According to The Guardian, senior U.S. immigration officials had instructed ICE officers to aggressively ramp up enforcement over the weekend. Here we are. This was literally Friday morning,
Yeah.
urging them to turn the creative knob up to 11 and arrest not only targets, but also so called collaterals,
Oh
undocumented
God.
individuals encountered incidentally. Internal emails encouraged officers to find new tactics to increase arrests, with one message stating if it involves handcuffs on wrists, it's worth pursuing.
Yep.
And I know that
Great.
there's been reporting that like people that show up for their immigration appointments are being detained. They're
I've heard
doing what
that as
they're
well.
supposed to do,
Yep.
and we're detaining them because we've got this 3,000 a day number that Trump is expecting everyone to hit. And
Yep.
now we're all shocked that the National Guard's been deployed to LA. And I don't agree with rioting. I don't agree with looting. I don't agree with all that. I also know this is a fucking powder keg. And he did this. He called in the National Guard without the governor requesting it because he fucking knew it would goddamn explode. And that's the whole fucking reason that he did it. And the guard
100%.
is only supposed to protect federal buildings and federal workers. You can't turn them on American people.
No.
Like they can't, like they're just
So
supposed to assist local law enforcement.
yep. So there's a reel that is out there about a man that is talking to the guards and are like, you have options. You don't have to follow these rules. You are being asked to violate laws right now. Here's
Mm-hmm.
a phone number you can call in order to report your superiors. Like,
Oh my
and it's
God.
and the headline of the reel that I saw was like, not all heroes wear capes. And I'm
Mm,
like, you know what? Because would you be willing to make that all like granted the ultimate sacrifice is the ultimate sacrifice,
right.
but the next is
Mm-hmm.
like, would I be willing to lose my job over all this? Like
To be
our
dishonorably discharged,
that's
probably.
right. That's right. Would you be willing to be dishonorably discharged because you weren't willing to follow orders because you knew that it was illegal? And it's like, I would hope that some people would be willing to do that. With that said, like, I agree with you that I, of course, don't believe in looting. I, of course, don't believe in like destruction of property, especially if it's privately owned.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, the only time in this country that we can get people to listen
Yes.
is when people are really fucking loud about things. You
Yeah.
know what
When
I'm
you burn
saying?
shit to the ground.
When you burn fucking shit to the ground is
Mm-hmm.
exactly right. Like the way Vietnam was
Mm-hmm.
changed was because of people protesting.
Yeah.
The way
Civil
that
rights.
like right, like the way that our civil rights movement happened was because of protesting. Like I respect the fact that like do I ever advocate for violence, and I definitely try not to. And really the only destruction of property that I've heard about so far, which I get that like I probably consume more liberal media than the average consumer. And so there's, I'm sure, a different story being told on Fox News. Although, again, all the videos and pictures that like you're getting from Ron DeSantis are pictures from 2020. So go fuck yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I digress. But in the I've started hearing about things like Molotov cocktails and things like that
Mm,
that have been happening. But
mhm.
the real destruction of property that I've seen are the self-driving cars, taxis. There have been 5 of them that I've heard have been lit on fire, and then
Oh,
they've had graffiti and damage and that sort of
okay.
thing. And
Interesting.
that was the point with which, like, they started escalating and bringing in people and
Mm,
blah, blah, blah. But to your point, I've heard, like, now, because there are so many police officers on horses, that people are getting trampled. And so, like, it's starting. And of course, we heard about the reporter that got hit by a rubber bullet.
mhm.
So it is by far the introduction of the military that has caused the escalation of so much of
Yeah,
this to happen, to
yeah,
occur, which is really depressing.
yep.
Okay, well, this will be something that we'll keep an eye on, of course. Again, I still feel like, so between Trump and Elon breaking up and
Mhm, mhm.
this to me seems like a bigger, like,
Oh,
staged. Trump's for sure trying
100%.
to, right, make
Yeah.
something out of literally nothing.
Yes.
Well, and I shouldn't say it's nothing because I love the peaceful protests. Speaking of which, for those of you watching pretty close to the time that we're releasing this, of course, this weekend
Hmm.
is the Trump military parade
Yes.
and birthday,
Mhm,
blah, blah, blah.
mhm.
Um, I think you said you had some updated numbers
I
on,
do.
so I would love to hear those, but really quick.
Mhm,
This Saturday, in protest for Trump's ridiculous military parade,
mhm.
around the country will be the No Kings protests.
Yes.
They are having the No Kings protest here in Kansas City. Nicole and I have already talked that we are going to try and make it down for the No Kings protest. So we'll let you know how that goes. But I am really excited I would love for the
Mhm,
military parade to get absolutely zero
mhm,
people at it.
mhm.
And I think you were telling me that there might be some competition. So,
Yes.
all right,
Yes.
tell me what's going on there.
Okay, so, new numbers-ish that I've seen, is projected to cause up to 16 million in street damage.
Holy shit. So I guess tanks started rolling in today,
Yeah,
is what I
yeah.
heard. And so to your point, like, thinking that we're going to be, oh, I've been hearing what you've been saying about the tanks. No, no, tanks have rolled into DC
Yes,
today. So,
yes.
okay, love that.
Total cost is estimated between 25 and 45 million, with the Army stating that they would cover repair expenses, with DC officials expressing concerns about the financial burden.
$45 million.
Million dollars.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So the same day on
Yep.
Saturday at
Yep.
Rate Field, which is home to the Chicago White Sox, there is a huge celebration to honor Pope Leo. Tickets sold out same day that they announced it. Uh-huh.
Okay. And do we know, did you have to get tickets to go to the military parade?
Yes. And well, I say that. I think that yes, you did, because I was seeing stuff online that was like, it'd be really great if you would go here to get tickets to Trump's parade, and then maybe you were too busy to go.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I would assume that maybe they were free, that you didn't have to, you know what I mean? I'm sure if you wanted to sit up close, you had to give a donation
Yeah.
to, the Donald Trump
Yeah.
Forever Foundation, who knows. Um but yeah, I think it is a ticketed event. Although I'm sure it will be something somewhere where, you can stand for free and not be anywhere near him.
Yeah. So it does look like there are different, like, local businesses around that are selling tickets if you want to watch from, like, their venues and stuff like that.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Where
yeah.
exactly is it being is on the National Mall, right?
I assume so.
Yeah, that's what I
The
thought too.
Army 250th fireworks celebration is showing a view of the mall from the view rooftop. So my assumption is that everything will be down there, but I don't know
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, here is America250.org.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm just
No,
going
I
to say
don't like
this right
that.
now for my dear cousin that lives in DC, that I know listens to us. I'm going to need you to get me some pictures. I'm going to need you to get down in the throngs of people, and I'm going to need you to get us some pictures.
Oh, yes. You can now register for free tickets to the U.S. Army's Grand Military Parade in Washington.
Free pictures.
Yes. Tickets for the parade are limited.
Oh, well, I mean, that's how you make it sound like it's exclusive. is by saying it's limited.
Indeed. Indeed. But it's a parade. So
How
really?
exclusive can it be? Like, I don't need tickets to go to the St. Patrick's Day parade in Kansas City. I just show my ass up and stand there and watch it.
Right. The event will include Army parachuters jumping from aircraft, landing, and giving Trump an American flag for his birthday.
Vomit. Vomit. I cannot fucking stand the posturing and the fealty and the, oh, God. Gross.
Me neither.
Gross. I hope they mix it up and they accidentally give him a pride flag.
Oh my God, I would love that so much. I would love that too. 7,500 troops, 34 horses. You know, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, the parade will cross in front of Trump's viewing stand on Constitution Avenue, just south of the White House. So that's where Donald Trump's going to be that day, for anyone that needed to know that.
Yes.
Yeah, I really hope that everyone shows up for the Pope and nobody shows up for this military parade.
Agreed. In all of the like over 1,000, there's over like 1,000 counter protest gatherings across the nation. So like show up for those.
Yeah, exactly. 1,000%. I am totally there for you. So you can only register up to 2 RSVPs per mobile number per event.
I hope the crowds are even smaller than his inauguration.
Me too. So this is at that America250.org. So for anybody that really is thinking about like wanting to register and then being sick that day and can't make it, that's where you need to go. America250.org.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting to know. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting parade. And I'm really excited that we can take part in a counter protest here in Kansas City.
Yes.
So,
and don't turn your TVs on to any news station that's going to have it on. Turn it on Bravo and watch some Housewives.
Yes.
Turn it on Prime and watch some movies. Do not, for the love of God, turn it on a TV station that will have the fucking parade on and give him viewership that way.
That's exactly correct. You are 1,000% correct.
You'll see clips later on the news. You don't need to watch it live in the moment.
I'm positive that there will be reels filling up your Facebook and Instagram feeds very quickly.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about the other big thing that is hitting soon. Okay. So we know that the one big beautiful bill, which I have now started calling the one big beautiful blah, 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 because that is how much respect I want to pay to this stupid piece of shit legislation. But we know that part of this piece of legislation is the cost is becoming very concerning to people. Obviously, Elon Musk is very concerned about the cost. Yes. Other Republican lawmakers are concerned about the cost. So in response to this, Republicans have started considering cutting waste and fraud to Medicare in the same way that they have suggested doing it to Medicaid. So it'd be the same like confirmation that you're eligible more times than just once a year. It's confirmation you're not dead. I don't know what that looks like, but Republican lawmakers are now trying to bring a lot of like the fraud and abuse claims on Medicare. Not one of them has suggested that we roll back any of the tax cuts for the wealthy, by the way.
Well, no.
We
can't do that. That's ridiculous.
No. So interestingly enough, you and I have been covering this pretty closely. Mm-hmm. I think both you and I went out, read through the bill, looked through the bill. Mm-hmm. The bill that is out there now is very different from the initial bill that you and I both like covered and read and reviewed. This last week, Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and she was absolutely beside herself.
Oh my God.
About the state's ability to regulate AI for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Which, to be perfectly honest, of all the things that smacks of Elon Musk, that's the one. Because we know that he has his Grok AI, like Gronkowski, Grok AI that he has been promoting. Which surprisingly, anyway. So it doesn't surprise me that like that was part of the bill. But I will say that like, so at the time she was like, I didn't even know it was in there. And I remember the tweets that are like, you have one fucking job.
She's like, I didn't read it all.
Bill. Yeah. But since then, I have read a lot of reports from people who have said that this is part of the reason that Mike Johnson introduced this so late and the Republicans introduced this so late is because really, like you had, I don't know, however many page bill.
It was like over
And
1,000 pages, I think.
I think they even said it was closer to like 1,500 pages, if I remember
Mhm.
correctly. And you literally had 72 hours with it, like from start to finish. And of course, in those 72 hours, things kept getting added and removed.
Right.
So they said that it's actually not that uncommon for lawmakers. And this is why they put it through a House vetting committee first, then
Mhm.
they bring it to the floor, and then they take sometimes weeks or months before they vote on it, is because like getting a bill of this size and properly being able to read it and analyze it is near to impossible in 72
Mm.
hours.
Mhm.
So, like, for the first time ever, I feel bad for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, fuck
No,
me.
you don't. That
Okay,
bitch
I
has got
don't.
staffers. She could have disseminated some of it. I'm choosing
So,
to read it as I read none of it and I just
yeah.
showed up and voted for it.
Well, to your point, that's exactly what they said that should have happened is her staff. She has staffers for exactly that reason, for her to receive the bill and then fucking read it and keep up on this shit.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
So
And
you're
then
right.
don't
Like, it's
dare goddamn admit that you didn't fucking read it, you fucking
right.
moron.
No
This is how
shit.
goddamn stupid they are. But there's
Yep.
no consequences to admitting that. You know what I
No.
mean?
Yes. Well, and how convenient that we made sure the bill got through, but
Mhm.
now we can speak ill of it. I'm really
Yes.
anxious because from what I understand, it's got to go through the Senate,
Mhm.
Congress, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then it's going to come back to the House because they're going to do a bunch of changes to it, I'm sure. And then it has to come back to the House for it to be passed. Is that true?
I don't know, but that seems like a lot of bullshit.
All right.
So
I'm
I
going to
kind of
try.
hope it takes a lot of that back and forth
So
so
that's
that
what
at
I
some
think is
point it
what,
fucking fails.
yeah. So because it's the budget reconciliation bill, the way that they did it is that so it's introduced in the House of Representatives.
Mhm.
It then will have to hang on. I think it then has to go back to
Back to the
the
House after the
Senate
Senate.
and then it goes back to the House. Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now here's what it says. Oh, no, I'm wrong. Sorry. It says the House has been passed in the House of Representatives. The Senate must create its own version of the bill, and then the two chambers will negotiate to resolve any differences.
The final bill.
Right. And
Okay.
then the bill will be enacted into law once both the House and Senate agree on the final version. So to that point,
Got it.
I don't necessarily know that it goes back to the House to be voted on, but they at least have to agree
Yeah.
on what the final bill looks like. So
Gotcha. Okay.
it'll be interesting because I'm curious as to what's going to happen. Like, will Marjorie Taylor Greene express her concerns at that time?
Mhm.
You know, is she going to? Are Republicans, for the most part, going to back the one big beautiful bill
Mhm.
if they don't make some changes to how it looks? And again, my biggest concern is the Medicare cutting because we all know that
Oh,
like
yeah.
the only thing that it is set to do is to make life harder for people. So anyway,
Yep.
speaking of budgets, bills, cutting shit,
Yeah.
the other thing that has been introduced this week are the rescissions, which is rescissions cut. It's the 9.4 billion in DOGE funding cuts that was sent to Capitol Hill.
Mm.
So this includes things like NPR.
Oh.
It includes things like public broadcasting system. There's a lot of shit in here that I think is going to be very difficult if these things actually really are
Mm.
cut. Some of the major things that they're talking about cutting is also things like there is a like a oh advisory council that like handles all of like international aid. And so they're cutting
Oh.
all of the aid that is for Europe and whatever. There is a program that was started by either Reagan or Bush that is like tackles AIDS and HIV. They're talking about getting rid of all of that.
I mean,
Of
sure, because
course,
we've cured AIDS. It's fine.
that's exactly right. Of course, they're talking about cutting things like migration and refugee assistance, international disaster assistance, contributing to international peacekeeping activities, USAID operating expenses.
I mean, this all sounds like a lot of woke bullshit to me for the
Yeah.
leftard liberals, so I'm
Yes.
pretty sure we should cut it.
Exactly. But the big one is the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, specifically for NPR and PBS. A lot of people surprisingly are having concerns over PBS because the PBS cutting would be directly to like the ability for the PBS to be able to the public broadcasting in order for them to actually like continue going on. So a lot of Republican lawmakers are actually not loving the cuts that they are asking for. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's all about Sesame Street and the Muppets.
That's exactly right. And Reading Rainbow.
I know. So yeah, so the rescissions are one of the things that is going to come out. And of all the things that I could see them maybe trying to distract us from, that's one of them that I feel like.
Yeah.
Especially because at the end of the day, so the way that this is going to work is this one actually has to get voted on, and it has to be voted on with a majority in order for it to get put into law. So Mike Johnson says, we're going to codify the DOGE cuts. You'll see that in a series of actions here in the House. We got the first rescissions package this week. We'll be passing it early next week. So again, a very, very aggressive timeline. The DOGE cuts, there'll be more to come after that. Not all Republicans are on board with the legislation. A handful of them have voiced concern about, again, killing this U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, known as PEPFAR, which George Bush was the one that enacted. And then, of course, like I said, poor Sesame Street.
I know.
It's very sad.
It is sad.
The other big area that they are really, really trying to kill, and I can't remember if it's in this round of DOGE cuts that they're trying to codify or if it's going to be in the next one, but of course are all the green energy tax credits. Oh. So there's like a ton of dollars that are part of the budget that are all around green energy and things like that. And all of those they're talking about taking out.
Again, it's pretty woke. I don't think we need any green energy.
Yeah, I guess. Tell you what. Yeah, contributions to clean technology and fund, $125 million. The Complex Crisis Fund, $43 million. U.S. Institute of Peace, $15 million.
Who needs that? Nobody needs that. That's ridiculous.
Who needs that? USAID Global Health Programs, $900 million. Okay, well, done and done. Yeah, so those are the two big funding issues that have come up. The other one, of course, are the Trump's tariffs. Have we heard anything on where the tariffs are these days?
No.
He keeps going back and forth. I have no idea. Okay.
Yeah, no. And I
haven't
either.
Didn't
even think to check on them. No, I don't know.
I didn't either, because at this point, who knows if they're in place or not? I know that he was talking about the steel and the aluminum tariffs.
Yeah.
But I have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of disastrous DOGE cuts, we didn't get a chance to talk last week about the acting head of FEMA.
Yes.
So the acting head of FEMA right now is this David Richardson, who apparently on June 2nd said that he didn't know that the United States has a hurricane season.
Okay. I cannot with this. I cannot with these people that admit shit, MTG, that you should just swallow back down.
Yeah.
You can take some things to the grave and it's okay. Not everybody needs to know that you're so goddamn stupid that you're running a federal agency. And you're going to say you didn't know there was a hurricane season. Who the fuck doesn't know that there's a hurricane season?
So I will tell you that a spokesman from the from the Homeland Security, whatever, did come out, Department of Homeland Security did come out and say that the FEMA chief was joking, which hilarious. Like, oh, thank God he's making jokes about
Because
hurricane season.
clearly not everyone realized it was a joke.
Exactly. And that Richardson is activated in preparation for the 2025 hurricane season. Can we say, so we just last week saw 2 tornadoes in the Kansas City area, and we have had like zero support from anything in the Department of Homeland Security or FEMA that has been anywhere near trying to, because I think like even our governor came in and asked for FEMA's assistance in some of the things that happened because there was like damage and whatever.
Yeah. And a couple of weeks ago, we had the devastating one that hit St. Louis.
Yes.
And I don't know that we have had anybody show up for that.
Oh, I'm almost positive that they have not. In fact, I was going to go look because so the major disaster declaration for the deadly May 16th tornado that ripped through the St. Louis region was finally approved today.
Well, I'm glad we're on top of it.
Governor Mike Kehoe sent a major disaster declaration request for individual assistance on May 25th. The governor and several members of the Missouri delegation confirmed that Trump signed the declaration today on the 9th.
June 9th.
Yeah. Like, I wonder if we're really ready to respond quickly to...
We're not.
Right.
And they want to pass everything back to the states. And we all know what a disaster that is.
Yep.
Because the states can't afford it. I did see a video online of a Miami meteorologist, John Morales, who was giving his weather report last week and paused his weather report to express his concerns with the DOGE cuts at NOAA. So what it was he paused his weather report to deliver a serious warning. Deep federal budget cuts are threatening the ability to accurately forecast hurricanes. He pointed to his 34 years of experience calming public fears during storms, but said he no longer feels confident doing that due to the sledgehammer attack on science.
Wow.
The proposed $1.7 billion cut to NOAA led by DOGE is gutting key forecasting agencies like the National Weather Service just as hurricane season begins.
Yeah. Wow.
Like he's saying, like, I can't tell you everything will be fine.
Yeah. Well, good. I love this journey for us. That is fantastic. I will tell you what. So for those of you who live in places where there are tornadoes and hurricanes and all sorts of natural disasters, which by the way is all of us. Like nobody lives in a place that doesn't have anything. Just be prepared. Like I was reading a tweet that showed up on my Facebook account because I don't get on Twitter anymore. But it was like, start collecting water, start collecting towels, because you can't rely that FEMA's going to be there for you and have your back. So you need to make sure that you are prepared. Like your emergency preparedness is tight because you're just not going to have what you need going forward. Yeah, that's really fucking depressing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's hope that none of us are going to need that this summer, not like last summer, which of course saw one of the worst hurricanes ever that hit North Carolina, the Asheville area.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that area has, I mean, listen, I don't even know that the roads are open yet to North Carolina since that. Do you know?
I don't know. I know that there was so much damage to, what was it, the Biltmore?
Yeah.
They weren't sure how long it was going to take to reopen.
Yeah. So it looks like they do still have a map of all the road closures, and it looks like, that a lot of the roads going in and out of Asheville are still closed.
But good news, we've got 4,100 National Guardsmen in Los Angeles.
No shit. Not to mention the fact that we have a military parade in Washington, D.C.
that we're spending $45 gazillion on.
Yeah, exactly. So love that journey for us. Okay. One other thing that came up today, I have a hard on for hating RFK Jr.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I just wanted to bring this up. I don't know if anyone hates him as much as I do, but I really
Mm.
fucking hate this guy. I think it's because
Mhm.
I'm getting old. And so, like, the fact that he's fucking with my healthcare is just really pissing me off. But RFK Jr. announced today that he is going to remove all 17 members of the vaccine advisory. Sorry, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, which has been a long-standing committee that is advising the CDC on vaccines.
Yep.
He is saying that it's all because they are corrupt and that they
have conflicting interests.
have conflicts of interest. Exactly. And what I've heard overwhelmingly is that they have one of the most strict conflict of interest policies in place of any,
Really?
yes, government organization, that these people generally are not, they're properly vetted. But
Mm.
they say that I guess he is having to put people in, and he wants them in like the next 2 weeks because they're going to have their next like CDC meeting of the month. I don't know what the fuck it
Yeah.
is, but
Yeah.
right. And so he has to get them in like just a couple weeks. And it sounds like it's just going to be a bunch of people that he throws in there. So I'm super
So it's
excited
gonna be
that,
Steve Bannon.
right.
It's gonna be yeah. It's gonna be all these
Exactly.
fucking people.
Exactly correct. So
Yeah.
I love that journey for us
Maybe
that
they'll do
we're
a raffle drawing for like some January Sixers. Hey,
maybe,
you
or
all
maybe
want to be
like,
on a government committee?
right. Or maybe it's going to be a sweepstakes. Like he's
Oh,
going to go out to
yeah,
all of his like
publishers clearinghouse.
anti-vaxxer Facebook pages and be like,
Yes.
you can be on a committee. Have
Yes.
you ever dreamed on being on a governmental committee? If so, donate $1 billion in
Exactly.
cryptocurrency to this
Yes.
bullshit made up, whatever,
Yes.
whatever.
And then we'll show up at your house with a big fat check and
Check.
some balloons and a camera crew.
It's like the price is right up in here. That's exactly correct. So
Yes.
you are correct that I have a feeling that this is probably how he's going to handle this, because he handles it just like he does everything else that he is so, and it's so goddamn depressing to me. I have like
Oh,
this gorgeous
100%.
picture. It's like the Time magazine cover of RFK and JFK sitting like,
Oh.
on
Mhm.
knees head
I
to
have
head.
that. Yeah.
And I'm just like, they would both roll over in their
A
graves if
hundred
they,
percent.
right. Like,
I do
this,
wonder, do you think that the brain eating amoeba gets a spot on the committee?
it has to be the brain eating. Well, I think he's the one
Chairman of the board,
I think the
right?
brain eating amoeba is the one running the fucking show at this point, right?
I think so too.
Like RFK Jr. is gone.
Yes.
It's like we should name brain eating amoeba. What? Bay?
Bay.
RFK's
I
Bay.
love that. So
Yes.
because I so two things, what you just said reminded me of like Trump putting out the tweets that you were telling me about Biden being a robot. So maybe that was a distraction for RFK really being a robot. But then I also think of like the brain eating amoeba as in like Men in Black when they like crack open and it's just this little bitty tiny alien sitting in this chair.
Oh, yes. 1000%.
That's what
That's
I think
exactly
about.
what I think of every time I think of
Yes.
the Bay,
Yeah.
which, by the way, we are now calling the Bay.
Okay.
Yes, every time I think of the Bay, that's exactly what I think.
Yes. The Bay is running
100%.
Maha.
RFK's Bay is running Maha. That's exactly
Yes.
right.
I love it.
Um, yeah, so Robot Biden is still getting laughs in late night television, at
Really?
least, which I think is a
Okay,
lot of
good.
fun.
I love that.
Someone said that MTG either retweeted it or liked it or something, which doesn't surprise me at all, right?
No.
Okay. Um, those are all the stories that I had on my
Yeah.
list. What do
Yeah.
you have on your list?
The only thing I have, and I don't have much on it, that you didn't have was a twat on Truth Social,
Ugh,
um, from DJT.
DJT,
So
not DJ Tanner.
right.
Yep.
So the twat said, just had a great talk with our military leaders. It is the strongest military we have ever had, including the fact that we are stockpiling weapons at a rate never seen before by our country. Hopefully, however, we will never have to use them. So allegedly, the post was made in the context of discussions with Iran and
Yeah.
potential nuclear negotiations. Um, but there's been some concern of like, and because of course this was like midweek last week, this was before LA blew up, but
Oh,
like there's some concerns about like what are we stockpiling our weapons for?
yeah.
What does this mean exactly? And do
Yeah.
we really believe that anyone's told him that we're stockpiling weapons at a
Or
rate never
is
before seen.
this Pete Hegseth getting drunk? You know how,
Right.
it's like 2:00 in the morning
Yes.
and you're a little wine drunk
Oh,
and
yes.
you're on like Temu or Amazon. Like I'm Amazon,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
have a girlfriend who she's on TikTok Shop. She's on TikTok
Oh,
Shop all the
yeah.
time. And you know how like 3 days later you're like, huh, I don't remember buying that. But okay, like
Yeah.
I'm not going to bother returning it. Like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
do you think this is Pete Hegseth getting drunk and making 2:00 in the morning? Like, I'm going to stockpile weapons.
Oh, for sure. Like, we're not going to let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Yeah.
Like, I could totally see Petey telling Donald, like,
Yeah.
we are the strongest military we have ever been. We're getting rid of the queers and
Yeah.
we're running the show over here.
And,
And
the
we're
references to
stockpiling
Harvey Milk. Fuck that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we're stockpiling all the weapons, and
Yeah.
by God, we're going to be able to stand strong. Like, oh my God. And because Trump never fucking sleeps,
Yeah.
he may not be drunk, but he's fucking sleep deprived. So then when he gets this crazy ass text from Pete Hegseth, he's all in.
Papa goes along with it.
Oh, yeah.
Papa's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
Peepaw goes
Peepaw.
along with it.
Yes,
That's right.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, so you know how like every Peepaw has a favorite? Like
That's
every
so
Peepaw
true.
has a favorite. Like
So
I
true.
know exactly who my grandfather's favorite was.
Yeah.
As does everyone else. Like all the Peepaws have a favorite.
Oh, yes.
And I will say 100% that like when your favorite says something, you just do whatever they say.
Oh, yeah.
I think
You just
Pete
roll with it.
Hegseth is Donald Trump's favorite.
Well, sure, because he knows how to tell him exactly what he wants to hear.
Well,
And
and
he
the fact
probably
that he
gives
was
it. Oh, sorry, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and because like Pete Hegseth is on the news, and
Right.
and like I think he had the job that Donald Trump maybe wanted to have, and
Yeah. And I think he
Right.
probably knows how to like give him the info in like a Fox News alert type fashion.
exactly,
So that then Donald's like, oh my God. Like it's
exactly,
just orgasmic to him every time Petey sends him a text.
exactly. He immediately gets hard. Like anytime he
Yes.
gets a text
Yes.
from Petey, he gets hard, and it's
Yes.
like, oh, that's my favorite.
Yes,
Yeah,
his
100%.
thumb extends because let's be clear, it's not any bigger than a toddler thumb.
No,
We're trying too
you're
hard to
exactly
make
right.
people believe it's bigger than it is.
Indeed. Okay, quick shout out. So one of my friends from long ago commented on our last podcast.
Yes.
Yes. So Miss Sherry, I was very excited to see your comment, and you asked that we discuss the campaign pediatrician Dr. Annie Andrews is running against Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we didn't get to it this time, but I feel like, Nicole, that we have the capability of maybe doing just a review of some of the decent campaigns that are starting
That are
to,
being
because
ran
I've
again.
also
Yeah.
heard that the House guy from Kentucky or Tennessee is stepping down after Trump leaves or after the Trump vote. And so that'll open up his seat. And there's like some interesting people because there will be a special runoff election. So there's some interesting people running there. We have talked about the platform that's coming out of like the Young Turks.
Yeah.
We've talked about Bernie and AOC, and there are other people that are running campaigns very similar to that. So I feel like if there's one thing you and I could do is maybe have a special episode where we highlight some of these campaigns and politicians and people that are really exciting and are like really raging some decent campaigns, because we definitely need to give those people as much
coverage. Yes.
Coverage as we possibly can.
Yes.
That's exactly right. When you said, oh God, I'm like, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Yes. Coverage as we possibly can. So Sherry, great idea. We will absolutely do that. Give us just a little bit of time to figure our shit out. And I wouldn't mind doing it a little bit closer to when the midterm elections are, so that we can really like focus on those candidates that have a chance of winning and could like start taking back some of the seats that we have lost over the last in the last election. So anyway,
it's gonna be interesting.
Great idea. We are listening. And if anyone else has any more comments, please feel free to post those. If we can get to them and have the capability to respond, we are happy to do so. With that said, both Nicole and I do have day jobs and families and other hobbies and things that we do.
Yes.
Plus, we have a wine walk this weekend that we're going on.
Because we're not going to the fucking military parade. We're going to be wine drunk and pretending that we don't know what's happening.
That's right. And then the plan is to leave the wine walk and hopefully make it to the protest. Luckily, Nicole has a very responsible child who will make sure that we are not drinking, nor driving, nor doing anything illegal. So rest assured, these mamas are taken care of.
Yes.
Okay, I kind of said that weirdly. So with that said, Nicole, I am ready for my happy ending. Yes.
Okay, your happy ending today comes out of Arizona.
Okay.
The headline is Arizona teen returns lost wallet containing $300 and receives an electric bike he'd been saving for.
Oh.
I know. So last month in Arizona, 14-year-old Cody Chalmers found the wallet while riding his bike in Chandler, Arizona on May 2nd and found $300 cash and credit cards inside. Even though he was in the middle of saving money for an electric dirt bike with a hefty price tag, he didn't waste any time considering his good fortune. He sent his mother a photo of the ID containing the wallet. She was able to run some basic internet searches until she found a phone number.
Bitches can find shit out, man.
Don't think you're getting away with nothing.
No, man. So we had some people that like bought the house down the street and all I had was a name. And I was like, oh, here they are. Like 5 seconds flat. And it's like all of my social media for the most part is private. I set it all to private because I say so many political things. And I'm like, but bitches can find a person. There is no doubt. Anyway, sorry. So his mother found the people.
Yes. Okay. I thought that someone would feel really bad if they lost it. So I was like, I better return this, he said, adding that he remembered immediately how his father reacted years ago when he lost his own wallet. Aww. It kind of taught me how bad it is to take someone's money, like because their wallet is basically their life. Amen.
No shit.
Impressed with her son's honesty, his mother made a boast post on a local Chandler Facebook page, remarking how Cody joked that he was a good Samaritan. Seeing the story of the lost wallet, another good Samaritan decided that $3,500 of his own money was less important than rewarding Cody's honesty and asked his mom to send him a link to the electric bike, intending to buy it for Cody as a gift.
I love that.
Yeah. And there's a freaking picture on the Good News Network of Cody with his helmet on because he's safe on his electric dirt bike.
Oh, I love that.
So cute. Yeah.
Yes, that is a nice story.
Yeah.
And I like it so much better than these like people who have medical debt and have to raise $1 billion to pay it off, because that just gets me riled up about our failing
that
healthcare
we're even having
system.
to do that.
That's right. This is just a story about one kid doing a good thing and then another person doing a good thing. And I like that a lot. So very nice.
Okay.
That was a very satisfying, happy ending.
Yes. Good. I'm glad. And no tears involved.
No. Although I could get verklempt, but I'm okay with that. Like I'll keep my shit in check. I can keep my shit in check. No, very nice. Okay. Well, I think that I have exhausted the biggest stories that I had on my list. Appreciate you bringing all the awesome info from your list and our happy ending, because that's always, I tell you, it's my mother's favorite part of this entire podcast. With that said, we appreciate all of you. If you've stuck around to the end to listen or fast forwarded to the end to listen, because I have no idea what the difference is for my podcast stats, but I feel like listening to the end is great. So thank you. For anyone that is watching this, please like and subscribe on YouTube. Of course, we offer this as a just a audio podcast on all of your podcast places, Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts. They're all out there. So feel free to listen to them if you would like. And as always, I hope you guys are staying strong and fighting the good fight. And if you have a chance to come out and join one of the local protests this Saturday, I encourage you all to stay safe, keep in contact, make sure you're telling people where you're going.
Yes.
Drink lots of water because it's going to be a hot weekend, and take care of yourselves.
That's right.
We love you all.
That's
Goodbye.
Right. Good night.